A very good afternoon to all of you. My name is Ashwini Kumar Kota, and on behalf of my company Excel Pro, I would like to welcome you all today to this webinar, a micro webinar on transforming your training programs to e-learning in 7 days. The moment you hear this, it looks like really, is it doable? Can be done? Well, it definitely can be done. And in times like these, circumstances are different, where most companies are shut down because of a global pandemic and things are not normal anymore. Training programs have been cancelled abruptly, workshops have been cancelled, a lot of schedules and calendars have gone haywire. If you're one of them who is affected by these kind of unexpected, unprecedented events, today is the day to step up and take a decision to move forward on the technology e-way. What can you do? While your learners are stuck at home, probably figuring out ways to work from home, etc., you can transform your workshop or a training program into an e-learning module, roll it out, and get your teams up to date, speed up things, learn while they're away, and by the time they come back, they would be a little more prepared. I won't say fully geared up, but definitely fully charged up. So there are two things here: enthusiasm, commitment. These two things, if they are fully ingrained in you and you're charged up, in the next 30 minutes or 25 minutes, I've got some good stuff for you. So let's get started. Now, this program or the webinar per se, or a micro webinar, as you've noticed, is not a basic webinar. It is not about, okay, you can do this or you can't do that. It is specifically for a certain set of audience. Like, for example, if you are a training manager, which would mean you manage training programs at your organization, you might have a designation different than this, but you're responsible for this activity. You might be a trainer or a subject matter expert. That is, you do conduct training programs and you do design training programs. You're an e-learning manager, somebody who creates e-learning courses in the companies, and you may be anybody else other than these three, but definitely you've got a linkage to learning and you have been affected by the current circumstances and you would like to do something to take your training programs off the ground. If you fit into any of these four sections, and even if you don't, but you have a desire to transform a training program into e-learning soon, let's look into it. So when we say we want to do it, how do we do it? There are two different approaches you can follow. One approach, of course, is DIY or do it yourself. If you've got time, you've got resources, definitely these are things you should give it a try and you can do it yourself. On the other hand, we can do it for you too. So it's DIY or WDIFY, just enjoying the jargon here. So we do it for you. When I say we, who is we? We could be Excel Pro, definitely. I would love that we to be Excel Pro, but we would mean any company specializing company or a group of people who specialize in developing e-learning courses and who can do it for you. Now, what I would do today is I would use a 7-day pattern for both. If you do it yourself, what can you do in 7 days? If we do it for you, what can we do for you in 7 days? Either ways, the course has to be up and running in 7 days. That's the agenda. Let's explore. First and foremost, I would begin with DIY or do it yourself. In do it yourself mode, I would rather focus first on the pros and cons. Then I would go into the 7-day pattern. Then I would shift the gears to get into we do it for you, and then I would weigh the pros and cons again so you get a clear picture. So when you do it yourself, one beautiful thing is that you can create the course at your own pace. It's your baby, it's your course. You create it the way you want to create it. You are the creator, you're the architect, you're a designer. It's a lovely feeling. Cost is minimal because it's your time, so you're not incurring cost of paying somebody for doing something. You're doing it yourself. These two are very good positive points for DIY. When it comes to constraints, there are a few important constraints which we should look at. First and foremost is the capacity constraint. You can only develop a module of about 15-20 minutes in a week. Why? Because eventually you are human too. So in 15 to 20 minutes of a runtime, if it's good enough to communicate a message, the kind of message you have for your audience, great, you should try it out. But what if the need is bigger? What if you have a course of say 2 hours, 3 hours, and you still have a time constraint? Well, you need to bring in the experts, take others' help. Second is Knowledge of a few simple tools, e-learning tools, image and audio editing software, stuff like that is always helpful. Even as a hobby or as a general enthusiasm or in some past avatar of your past work life, if you have dabbled with these tools, even just on a superficial level, that will be of great help right now. If you have not, you can start learning, but learning execution don't go hand in hand, especially when you're racing against time. The course you create or the module you create might have an amateurish feel compared to professionally done ones. Well, if you want to feel the creation, the joy of creation, it will be like a homemade stuff. If that's okay with you or gives an edge, go ahead, please. But on the contrary, if a boss is going to not like it, be a little careful because for want of a horseshoe, the horse can be lost. Similarly, the want of trying to do something by yourself, you desire to do something by yourself, you create it, but eventually the whole purpose of learning is defeated. You wouldn't want that. Once you take care of all these points, one last point, which is the main point I always advise people to pay attention to, is the opportunity cost. Every time we do something, it comes at the cost of something else. Like, for example, right now I'm sitting with you doing a webinar. If I was not doing this webinar, what would I be doing? If the other thing I was doing or was about to be doing or was supposed to be doing, if that has got more value, then I'm losing out here. If the other thing is not much of value, but this is of more value, then I'm gaining here. You all know what this means. So do this, that is creating your module only if you have absolutely nothing else or nothing better to do, or there's a very tight squeeze on the budget. If your reasons are justified here, walk with me ahead, completely full on. We'll see 7 steps, 7 days, how to do it. Reasons are not justified, don't worry. Enjoy the next few minutes on how the DIY happens. We'll switch to we do it for you in a few minutes now. Day one. The beginning is always important. Day one, you are the SME, you have all the confidence, you are the God, you're the guru, that's all great. But humility needs to be in full force here. When you start doing e learning, if you feel I know everything, the trouble begins. Start with collating and analyzing the content thoroughly. Irrespective of how good you are, put all your content in front of you, the subject matter in front of you clearly. Structure the course into sections. You may be a trainer or a training manager. That's why I listed those topics earlier. You may be used to doing 1 day workshop, 2 day workshop, 5 day workshop, 10 day workshops. But definitely, I don't think you're used to doing a 15-minute e-learning program where a 1 day's content needs to be crammed into, say, about a 1 hour e-course. Now, that's a different story for different kind of professionals, the instructional designers, of course. But today, you're not doing an ID course. So what would you do? You'll structure your course into sections, small sections, and say, okay, I would like to do justice to this topic because this topic and subtopic and series of subtopics are important for me. The topics don't change. The content and style of depiction changes. So what you would do, first list out all your topics, then the subtopics. Put your topic clearly, briefly mention the explanation, give 1 or 2 examples. Now, the kind of examples you give in a classroom may be different than the kind of examples you give in e-learning. Don't worry what examples, just write down any closer to real life example you can mention. And of course, handy resources. If you have got some resources you would like people to go through voluntarily, mention them over there, your PDFs or you got URLs, etc. This is all your own creation. So this is how you're going to slice and dice and put your content in place on day one. So day one is all about content. Content is king, context is God. You might have heard this quite often in the market, popular sayings. But what I would say is spend a whole day, that is 1/7 of your time only on content. If you make a mistake here, the effect is going to be geometric progression or domino effect, whatever name you want to give it, but it's bound to be a sure shot recipe for disaster. Once you're done with it, don't feel very proud, don't feel very great, be humble, stay tight. After an hour or so of completing this activity, come back again, revisit it, check it, go through a couple of iterations. Once you do that, you're able to ensure, okay, I've got all my content sorted here, put it in place, I'm good to go. That's great, wonderful, well done, go back to sleep, life is good. Next day, day two, is when you go to the next stage of creation. Here is when you start creating the first PowerPoint. But a word of caution, don't get enthusiastic about visual designing so soon. You will make a black and white PPT as bland as it can be without any graphics or dramatics, how much your PowerPoint is trying to prompt you. Don't fall for it. Just a black and white, nothing, a white screen, black lines, black fonts. Why? Because it will focus on the content still. So prepare a PowerPoint for each section you prepared yesterday. Put key points on slide, the points which you would like to be brought on the screen. You should know, okay, if I put this up, why should a person look at that thing or read the thing? If there's no reason for a person to read it, don't put it. Only those elements which a person, a learner, is supposed to see or read should come on screen, not more than 3 or 4 sentences or lines or points on a slide, and ensure that each section does not take up more than 5 slides. You are the SME, so you would have a lot to give, but the learner is not the SME. Give the person in an encapsulated form what the person can digest. So not more than 5 slides per section and key points only. But what about all you've got? You have a lot to give. Well, for that, there is a note section. Go into the notes section of the slide and write to your heart's content. Literally write your heart's content. Write as much as you want to write. Go on and on and on and on, because you're going to relook at it, work on it, develop it into voice over script. So when you release your heart completely and put it onto the note section, at least you're not holding anything back. And that will help us to formulate work for the next day. So day 2, you'll only dump your heart out onto the note section, put your mind onto the slide section, no designing, nothing, just put your points there. Again, the same process what you followed in day 1, will come back to day 2, do your work, keep it aside, come back again after a few hours, relook at it, fine tune it, and then leave it. After 2 or 3 iterations, you'll feel satisfied. That's good, great. Even if you're not, you have to make a stop. You have to stop it somewhere. That's okay, well done, leave it, all good. Now, having done that, you've done a lot of hard work now. Let's go to day 3. Day 3 is when you start moving into uncharted territory, mostly uncharted territory. So what do? You draft your first voiceover script. Remember yesterday you had made a lot of notes in the notes section, poured your heart out. Well, it's time to take a look at that. Read everything what you have put in the notes section, but read it loudly. Not so loud as to disturb your wife and kids, because all of you working from home, thanks to the situation we're in. But even if you're working from office, or if you're seeing this video after some time when you're in office, loud would mean only loud enough for you to hear it through your ears, not the inner mind, and not loud enough for the person next to feel miserable about your presence. That is loud enough for us. So when you speak it out, then you realize that the feeling is different. Check the contents thoroughly, read loudly, and record your voice on a mobile phone or a computer and replay to check how is the explanation sounding. Well, this might be a very revealing experience for you, because many times we all think we're doing a great job only till the time we record and listen to what we're talking. And that's when we feel, oh, did I really sound like this? And the shock sometimes is pretty heavy. So what would you do? You will record and replay, record and replay. Again, a word of caution, I'm not talking about your voice modulation or your oratory skills. I'm only talking about the content being communicated. Now, if something can be communicated verbally, that's vocally, in a shorter sentence, please do that. Lesser sentences, please do that. So what we do is we do not drag something out for a learner which does not need to. So now we look at the script, what is in front of you, hear it loud and start making corrections to it. So you would know finally these 3 or 4 sentences, when spoken clearly, are communicating the message effectively. So there's a main topic, there is the explanation, there is the example, and these 3 things are good enough for each topic to be taken care of. Once you're done with that, take one particular audio clip of probably 1 sentence or 2 sentences, share it with your colleagues or friends or a target audience, anybody you feel relates to subject, and get their feedback. How is it sounding? Since you're working on it, it's a creation, and it's very common for human beings and even animals to fall in love with the creation. Well, this is not the time to fall in love with your creation, because it is still a half-baked creation. So let it be done completely. So take the feedback from the concerned people, take their opinion very particularly, don't take it literally. If you take it literally, you'll be something else altogether. Take an opinion and then use your mind, use your judgment to decide whether it is worthy of making the change or not, or the feedback to be implemented or not. and then you make the corrections as you go by. Change in the content, change in style. Sometimes we use a certain jargon, certain words which others might feel a little heavy. Sometimes we use language which is very simple, so those things happen. So once you do that, there's no best way to do it, there's always a better way to do it. So what happens after this? Day 3, by the end of the day, a crisp, nice voiceover script is ready. After the voiceover script is ready, keep it aside. Done for the day. 3 days over, head on for the 4th day. Before that, I miss mentioning a point. I'll do it right now. Ensure that the script, what you write on each slide, is not having more than 120 to 150 words. Now, this is not a rule, but a suggestion. Usually because we spend about a minute. In a minute, a person speaks 120 to 150 words, which is usually what we hear too. If something is spoken faster than that, we end up missing a few things. Slower than that, we end up feeling bored and we might not grasp it. If a slide runs for about a minute and has got about 120 to 150 words, that's a general thumb rule for you to follow. Need not necessarily follow it, but use it as a guide bar. Day 4. Day 4 is when you're all charged up, come to your computer, you can do some gargling, do some voice exercise, do some chanting if you want, feel very positive. Day 4 is a day when you start moving from text and black and white to color and audio. And here is when you should come with full force, full concentration, full joy of creation. Record your voice using the built-in mic of a computer or mobile phone. Don't worry if you don't have state-of-the-art technology, because you are the expert out there. The content is in your mind. It has to reach to your audience. So that's what they're there for. Your natural tone is very important. So record your voice using the built-in mic of a computer or a mobile phone, whatever suits you, but just record it. When you record it, never try to get it right the first time. You will get it right eventually, but not the first time. When you record it once, twice, thrice, allow some takes to happen, then you will see automatically you are able to speak the way you normally speak. All of us get conscious under circumstances which are not familiar to us. And talking to computers is one thing which most of us are still not used to it. Talking to humans, of course. Talking to a screen, definitely not. It takes a little time to get adapted to it. So when you do that a few times, listen to yourself, do again, listen, do again, listen. After a few takes, you start sounding like yourself. That's you. The way people are used to hearing you, listening to you. And then automatically it resonates with the learner if they know you, or even if they don't know you, it resonates with the subject and you will have a commanding presence. So don't worry too much about uh, how great you're sounding or whether you're sounding equal to a voice actor or not. Voice actors are experts in their field. You are the expert in your field. As long as you're clear, people are understanding, great, go ahead and record it. Once the voice recording is done, keep the clips aside and that's it. So next thing is we go on to day 5 where we start working on the visuals of the slides. You had a PowerPoint with you, you still have a PowerPoint with you. Now the slide has text at the in the notes section and you already have a recorded audio of it. When you play the audio once or twice for each slide, you hear it. While hearing it, you can feel what do I want on screen? What kind of images do I want to depict here? Do I put a flower here? Do I put an animal here? Do I put an object, pentagon, hexagon? What comes here? Being an SME, easily you can see what comes out there. If there are many options, don't worry, put anything which you feel is relevant. Still you've got a doubt, create 2 slides and then compare. It's much easier for you. Because when you do a PowerPoint and then put the audio on, you can hear and you can feel how the screen in front is resonating with your audio because it's your own voice eventually. When you're using images, you can easily take the help of a lot of stock image sites which are available. Stock images are sites which carry a lot of ready-to-use images. Most organizations have subscriptions to Shutterstock or sites like that, which have abundant of say millions of resources. You have to just put in a keyword, you get some beautiful stuff out there. And talk to your concerned marketing teams or the brand teams. They will definitely know to whom to guide you to. They can give you the login and password for that. You can always check it out. If your organization doesn't have this kind of resources, they are a little costly. So I wouldn't recommend to go and buy something upfront unless your boss is feeling generous or the company is feeling generous right now. You can always go onto the net, say on a search engine, and check out for free stock images or free images. There are a lot of sites which offer free images. You can check out the free images. Options are limited, but options are good enough for the module. You can choose from some real photographs, you can choose from caricatures, you can choose from icons, illustrations, but remember to maintain the style. If you want to put vectors only. Like if you see in this webinar, I'm using only one kind of images. I'm not putting my photo over there, then somebody else's photo, then a cat's photo, and then one character here. I'm not doing that. So whatever style you choose, ensure there's a consistency and all images look like they belong to one family, not like one orangutan and one mouse and one rabbit and one tiger. That looks odd. Let them all be one kind of people or images. When you're working with images, be very careful on one aspect. Copyright is your responsibility. You wouldn't want somebody knowingly or unknowingly taking away your work from you, or we call it as stealing. You shouldn't do that. I would never recommend it. Nobody recommends it. It's also a crime. But unknowingly, when you're doing it for the first time, you might go to Google, type some words, something nice comes up. Oh, this looks great. Let me pick it up. Control C, Control V. If you do that, no, it's somebody else's property, not nice. What you should do is stick to free sites and see what is written over there. If it is free, it's free, take it. If it's not free, the subscription, pay and take it. If you can't afford it right now, it's okay. Maybe some other day, take what is freely available and make do with that. When you're working on slides, sometimes again, you might fall in love with your creation or ideation. Don't do that. Do not use more than 3 images per slide, even if it is a motion graphics and it comes one after the other. Just ensure that you put not more than 3 images. That way the person will not get burdened with too much happening on screen. Usually somebody sees your screen and hears you together. While they're hearing you and something is happening on screen, flash, 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 flash kind of thing, then the eyes get distracted. When the eyes get distracted, ears stop functioning or the concentration shifts to the eye because colors attract us more. And eventually the person might get distracted by what he's seeing on screen and may not pay attention to what you're speaking. On screen should support the audio. Audio is more important. So let the audio be the primary guide. On screen should support it and not go the other way. As long as you're taking care of it, it's all good. Day 5, if you can achieve this, fantastic. On screen visuals, don't go for an overkill. A pro tip here is when in doubt, go one down. If you feel I want to use this 5 images, no, go a little down. I don't know whether to use this or that. Use one, don't use both. A little less image won't harm you, but too many images coming up might harm your audio. Audio is important. Lot of hard work, 5 days over. Had it been a normal work week, your week would have ended already, but it's not a normal work week, so 6 and 7 have to happen. So day 6. Day 6 is when the heavy lifting begins. If you know to use Articulate or any similar tool, Captivate, Lectora, any of those e-learning authoring tools which are there to make the life of e-learning developers easy, at any point of time you have dabbled with them, tried them, or worked with them, or done something, great, brush up your knowledge, it will help you. Import a PPT and voice, adjust timelines, fill in a quiz, and bingo, your course can be ready on the same day. Done, all great. But what if you don't know to use such a tool or never ever tried doing it? Today is not the day to experiment. You will get that day someday soon, but I would rather recommend stick to the plan, stick to what is it that is available for you. If such tools are known to you but not available to you, check out, because these days most companies are offering free trials. You can always download a free trial, try it out, explore, use it to create something possible. But you don't know to use the tool, even basics are not known to you, then I would suggest don't ever try to do it right now. Stick to next plan or plan B, which is basically use any screen recorder software on your computer or use a free trial of any popular video, meeting or webinar tool to run your PPT and record your voice. What can happen? Your entire module can come out as a video. It's also okay. A video is okay. Eventually, a video with a quiz is fine. You can do that. So if you can create a module using a tool, do that. If you can't create a module, create a beautiful video using all the voice and assets that you've created. That is totally doable. Either of these things we are trying out. Now, things are easier said than done, but doing is not difficult. It's more adventurous and fun. That's how I'll present it. So while you're attempting it, if you're facing any difficulty, I don't know how to do it, I want some tips on it, help me out, All you have to do is, if this webinar is with you, just look at the first screen. You'll find my number out there or my email ID out there. All you have to do is come to Plexus website, drop a message. We're out there to help you and resolve any questions you have. Not just we, any e-learning company or your colleagues will help you out. But if you don't know where else to go, we are definitely there for you. Once you're done with it, you need to talk to your LMS administrator. Now, after your module is ready, hosting comes in. But before hosting comes in, if you're teaching something, you would like to know whether the people have got it right. You would like to know, has something good happened? A bit of assessment is always helpful. You can start with a plain vanilla quiz, MCQs, or a multiple choice question, and go all the way up to games and gamification. The options are there, but I would not recommend some high funda stuff right now. Your LMS or a learning management system where you eventually host your module usually comes with prepackaged quiz templates. All you need to do is talk to the concerned person, understand how it's created, and give the questions, and they can create the quiz for you. And that is done, great. If somebody cannot create a quiz for you, don't allow or let a quiz be a problem for you. Please go ahead full on and launch your video anyways. A person who desires to learn will definitely learn with it. Day 7. Day 7, all the hard work done and the moment of truth eventually comes in. But before the moment of truth comes in, your last ditch effort or last bit of preparation is required. And this is where I'm always cautioning people, because here is when accidents happen. Because you've been spending 6 days of your time creating something, you'll say, okay, wow, I've done it. And when the sense of achievement comes into your mind before you reach the finishing line, disaster strikes. YouTube is full of videos of people who felt too good or felt the sense of achievement before they reached the finishing line, only to be defeated by somebody much lower than them. You would not want to be one of them, and especially not in such circumstances. So what should you do? Review each module or video thoroughly. Whatever you've created till now, review it thoroughly. Ensure that there are no spelling mistakes, no voice errors, and no unnecessary objects on it. Everything is as it is supposed to be and acceptable to you. Wherever you've got a doubt, re-record sections if required. It might be a little bit of hard work, might take maybe a little more time. It's okay to delay the launch by a day, but not okay to do a lousy job accidentally and release the launch on the previous day. So re-record entire sections or sentences if required, but ensure that the work is final, and then publish the final file. If it's a video, it comes as MP4 files. If it's a module, it could be a SCORM module or web published module. Technology, don't worry, the tool takes care of it for you, and we are there to help you if required. But after you publish the file, it has to go somewhere. It can't be on your desktop. So if it's a module you published, pass it on to the LMS administrator, that's the learning management system administrator, and the concerned person will host it for you. If you publish an MP4 video, all you have to do is upload on YouTube, share the link with your colleagues or any other video streaming site, and they'll be able to access the video. And their learning begins. And of course, after a few days, take a feedback, how is it going? And you're all set to create the next module. So this was the world of DIY or do it yourself. So I took a few minutes to explain you in detail here. So if you're attempting this, you would know some steps would be easy for you, some steps would be difficult for you, and some steps might be new for you. So what are new? Tread with caution. After a few iterations, they'll become familiar to you. What is known to you, tread on a strong footing and use it as your strength. And even if it's the first time, try it out. After a couple of iterations, you'll get it right. Nobody was born an expert on the first day, but after one or two such modules, you'll definitely be the expert. So this was all about DIY or do it yourself. Now we'll take a few minutes to go into the world. If not this, then what? What is the alternate option? The alternate option we got here is we do it for you. When I say we do it for you, the e-learning company or your e-learning development team or your colleagues who are experts on e-learning, they do it for you. When they do it for you, we are going to look at the pros and cons the same way we saw the pros and cons for DIY. So what are the pros and cons here? The pros are, of course, you will get the file delivered as committed because experts are working on it. You will get the advantage of excellent instructional design and visual design because that's their job. They do it day in and day out. You'll get post delivery support because sometimes glitches come in technically or in design or content might change. And the best of all, you give the content to the team, and if it's a committed team, you rest easy. They'll take care of everything for you. Cons, there's only one constraint, which is like an important constraint, because all good things come for a little fee. Nothing is free in the world, and what is free is sometimes not worth it. So in this case, if you have a budget, even if it is a limited budget, try attempting working with your organization, maybe us, maybe somebody else. If you do that, it will be a lovely experience to work with professionals who can bring your training program to life quickly. But when they do that, how can they do it? There are various approaches, but I'm going to focus upon what I can do for you and what Excel Pro does, because these days we're running back to back programs. And the reason I took this topic is because over the last 10 days, 2 weeks, we've seen a lot of action happening of workshops cancelled, training programs cancelled. Suddenly, we are helping our clients to quickly create e-learning programs and put them out for the learners to ensure that while they're at home, working from home, or maybe cordoned off, quarantined at home, they use the time constructively to learn and be fully prepared to come with full force when they get back to work. Day one. That 7 days are 7 days, but 7 days look quite different in both circumstances. So what happens in day one? You send in your subject matter content. Say, suppose you're dealing with me, we get on a call and they say, I want this topic. I say, great, done. Then you'll be sending me your subject matter content. Now it is unstructured content. You give me whatever you've got. It could be a text, it could be PPT, PDF, anything. If you don't have any of this stuff with you, they're all in the office is closed down, you can't go there, but you still want the program, don't worry, put on your mobile phone, record your audio or write in your own notes, send it to me, and then we're going to work on it. We start analysis, we'll estimate in terms of, okay, this is the content, this is the effort required, and then we'll send in estimate with what is the kind of a runtime. Is it going to be a 5-minute module, 15-minute module, 4 modules, 3 modules? To do justice to the content you're sharing, how do we structure it? We'll tell you that unlike in DIY, we have the expertise to run the program on multiple levels. E-learning is always about levels, level 1, 2, 3, gamified, stuff like that. My website has got full details in terms of what the levels are and what suits you. And of course, when I look at the content and your need, I'll suggest a level for you. We can do that. And I'll also give you an indicative cost in terms of what's the cost for doing this kind of a work. If all goes good, all goes great, we go on to day two. We sign off on day one on the content and the context and what has been done. Day two, my team gets into action. We do thorough content analysis. We have a call with you. We understand the content, walk through with you, because we don't want to read and make interpretations. If possible, we would like to understand your perspective. You can rope in the people also. We can do a web call or a phone call, and the instructional design begins. So day two, we go full on the designing front. Day three is when you see the first part of the magic, and you get a mail from us, you get a link from us, and then you get to feel the beauty. A small pilot module of 2 minutes has been created or will be created and sent across to you to get a feel of how your content has been transformed into something fantastic. You take a look at that, you run it through your colleagues, seniors, bosses, clients, anybody you feel like running it through, and you collect the feedback and you tell us. It could be like design changes, input changes, content changes, anything. But the 2-minute module is mainly focused upon the design and flow. While you're reviewing it, we are not resting easy. My instructional and visual designers will work relentlessly in the backend to constantly ensure that the designing is happening. By day 4, we would have taken your feedback and gotten approval on the pilot module. Usually, under normal circumstances, this takes days, but under rush circumstances, we can do it in 1 day. You take a look at the pilot module, we get on the call, give us a feedback. I get the changes done immediately, maybe in an hour, I get back to you, show the revised file, take your approval. So day 3, day 4 is when we concentrate on getting the design signed off with you, and production goes into full swing. Like the visuals you see here, everybody's creating something, sitting at their own homes. The visual designers, the graphic designers, the instructional designers, we keep on working simultaneously in the module, and eventually all things are ready to be put together. And day 5 is when you get to see the first cut of the complete module with machine voice. Now here, a very important point is I've got people sitting across various countries and across various locations in their homes, and they're working seamlessly. And that's why when you do a file by yourself, you're putting one slide after second slide after third slide. When I'm working on a module, my team is working on multiple slides together and synchronized. That way what happens, I'm able to take advantage of man days and man hours. So time is not linear for me, time is flat. So what takes 5 days, I can have five people doing it in one day. Of course, as long as the projects are being held tight and managed well, we have no problem, we deliver quickly. So first cut of the module with machine voice is sent to you for approval. So here is when you see the entire module, but with machine voice. What is machine voice? It's text to speech. Why text to speech? It's still work in progress. So if you have got some changes, my team just makes small corrections in the text and the voiceover changes. So since we are not the experts regarding the voice, we give you full support to make modifications at this stage. So we are able to not lose time on the recording and re-recording, but just make text corrections and speech changes, and you get to know what is being spoken, and then you get to see what is happening. Recording can happen later on, but we got to get it right now. And once everything is done, we send the complete transcript of the voiceover script to you to read. And remember the DIY step, where you actually speak and you see how it comes out. So you can read through it and see everything is fine. And then you give us a sign off on the script because we have co-created. It doesn't take too much time. Even if you give me a sign off by end of the day, it doesn't matter because these days our voice artists are recording overnight. Why overnight? Because they're supporting the production time in day, and by recording overnight, next day morning they're able to give us the voice for production. Day 6, the first cut I've shared with you. You've spent a day or so running through people. You give me the feedback on that, some changes, some corrections, some modifications, suggestions. We incorporate all of them, and we revise the module on day 6 by one, making changes as you suggested, making modifications if required, and then replacing the machine voice with natural voice and create the final module and send it for testing. If you remember, I was talking about testing even in DIY. Testing and checking is extremely important. What I call as review over there, I call as testing here. Because here there's a team which does the testing, visuals, audio, functionality, host of things are there, which the team will take care of it. So after testing on day 7, before the day ends, your module will reach you ready to be rolled out with quizzes and SCOM tested, all taken care of. So day 1 beginning, you start with us, day 7 end, the file is with you. If you already have an LMS in place, if you already have a mechanism of hosting and you got people taking care of it, you can keep them on standby. The module comes and you roll out on day 7, day 8, your learners are live, all good. We hope for the best. What if you don't have that? What if you do not have the LMS? What if your LMS administrator is not in a position to access the LMS? What if because of shutdowns, etc., issues are happening? Not to worry. At Excel Pro, we already have a fully functional LMS in place. We're using it to run the modules of various companies, complete with your brand, your guidelines, your system, your mechanism, and we'll take care of it. So if you want us to host and manage for a short time or a long time, we're fully geared up for that. And that service also can be provided to you optionally. Now, irrespective of do it yourself or we do it for you, LMS hosting services can always be provided. You need to give us the names of people and what modules in access for how long, and the same day. Please mark my words, these are testing times and we're fully geared up to address them. The same working day, my team can get your module up and running so that people, your colleagues can start learning immediately. And I guarantee that it can be done. Well, sounds like all is done, but it's not over till it's over. While the module's launch is only the beginning of the learning experience, once it is rolled out, you realize that your learners are sitting across the country using mobile networks, etc., to access it. They might have queries, so we're there to support if required. But more importantly, every time an e-learning module is launched, over the next few months, corrections happen. Numbers change, some facts change, figures change, names of people change. If such changes are happening, our team is on standby to make small changes, absolutely no cost. It's all taken care of. We'll make the corrections and revise the model for you. Also, if any tech support is required while your people are learning using the module, we are there to help you with that. You can always ask us a question. We'll support you. So eventually what I mean is from inception of the content coming to us till the launch and the rollout and the learner completing his course, we walk the entire journey with you. 7 days is what we take to create, and we hope your learners complete the course in 7 days, if not two. And that is a very, very gratifying, satisfying experience. Try it out, it's really worth it. So, what do you think? All geared up? If you have walked the journey with me and you find it damn exciting, lovely, in your mind somewhere you have made a decision already. Is it DIY or we do it for you? Irrespective of what approach you take, it's time to get started. Think of a topic, think of your learners, take a deep breath, take a leap of faith, and within 1 week, the world will be a different place because you would have done something different you have not done till now. On that note, my webinar comes to an end, and this is the second of the series of 21 webinars I'm doing this season. So if you have enjoyed the webinar, please do join me for the forthcoming webinars tomorrow, day after, day after. If you miss my webinars, no problem. You can always subscribe to my YouTube channel. Every day we upload one webinar recording, and I'm sure you'll enjoy all of them. Thank you very much. Have a great day ahead. Take care. Bye-bye.